In the book The Time of the Butterflies, the Mirabal sisters live in a corrupt Dominican Republic where the government is run by the sole dictator, Rafael Trujillo. The book shows the journey of all four sisters and their roles with defying the government and its corruptness. The impact of dictatorship is especially emphasized in the way that power is abused and how it affects the people of the Dominican Republic. The storyline of the book shows the Mirabal sisters trying to join in on a rebellion to protest the government, then getting picked off one by one and thrown off a cliff by the government, where all but one sister passes away. Like in the story of the Mirabal sisters, throughout the last century, corrupt dictatorships and the abuse of power by dictators have been a very prevalent issue throughout the world. Corrupt dictators can greatly impact their societies in ways such as causing great social and political changes, as well as causing massive changes in the culture of the people and the economy of the country. One example of extreme dictatorship is North Korea. The North Korean government issues extreme propaganda that makes their citizens believe things that are not true, and does not allow outside information that the government does not approve of to reach the people within the country. In The Time of the Butterflies, the Mirabal sisters' father knows that he needs to be very careful in speaking out against the government, or else reparations against his family will be taken, putting both him and his family in danger. In North Korea, if someone commits a crime against the government, the next 3 generations of their family are sentenced to life in brutal concentration camps. While this is an extreme example of dictators and what they can do, it shows the terrible impact that these forms of government have on its citizens.
Another example of dictatorship is the Chinese leader Mao Zedong. Zedong was the leader of the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, and came into power in 1949. He completely changed the cultural aspects of China and applied his communist ideology to it. He put China through a period of rapid industrialization, which greatly helped China become a leading world power, but came at the cost of countless lives. His rule brought what is thought to be one of the biggest famines in history, as it is estimated that 40 to 80 million victims died under his rule through mostly starvation, persecution, prison labor, and mass executions. Additionally, he erased thousands of years of culture and replaced them with his ideals and practices. His rule is a reminder that everything comes at a price, and his developments to China came at the price of millions of lives.
Another example of some negative connotations of dictatorship is the methods these radical leaders rise to power. Some memorable examples of controversial rises to power in our recent times are the fascist leaders Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini, who both rose to power of their nations in very controversial matters. Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Nazi Party in Germany, who had never had more than 30% of the votes, rose to power due to an enabling act in March of 1933. Through more suspicious conspiring, Hitler eliminated the previous chancellor in an accident and enacted himself as the supreme dictator. Hitler forced the German soldiers to swear an oath to serve him as a supreme leader. Benito Mussolini rose to power through a military coup and instated himself as the supreme leader in Italy around the same time as Hitler. The rise to power of a dictator typically occurs utilizing suspicious methods, which is reflected in the rise of Trujillo in the Dominican Republic, who rose to power through eliminating every official above him till he was the supreme dictator. Another very similar example of dictatorship in a country that has many similarities is Cuba and its former dictator Fidel Castro. Castro's dictatorship is an interesting one, as some of the positive changes he caused were national health care and a massive increase in literacy throughout the country. However, there is some questioning the political freedom that the people of Cuba were given throughout his rule of the country. Castro also sided with Communist Russia during the Cold War and brought the world to what is thought to be as close to be a nuclear war. While some of Castro's actions were dangerous, he brought Cuba into light on the global stage and left his legacy on the country. However, some of the things he left with his legacy were very deep changes to the economical state of Cuba, which left the Cuban economy in ruins after he left.
In the country of Cambodia, between 1975 and 1978, mass genocide occurred to the Cambodian people as a direct result of the corrupt government. After the Cambodian Civil War in 1975, the communist dictator Khmer Rouge spread his communist ideas throughout the country, while doing whatever he wanted to stop the Western ideas from spreading amongst the people. He would put up propaganda and evacuate entire cities in order to keep the communist philosophy in a seemingly good light for the citizens. His actions caused the deaths of millions of people through famine and genocide for minorities within the country. Khmer Rouge's rule caused the deaths of an estimated 1.25 to 3 million citizens. At the time, Cambodia's population was at 7 million people.
As shown, the impact of a single dictator, whether positive or negative, can have lasting effects on a country's people, economy, culture, global relevancy, and more. While most of the examples in this video are showing the harmful effects of dictatorship, there are positive outcomes that can come from dictators that have been showcased in past societies that can help improve the country as a whole. These are not shown in the video, however, as the dictator in the time of the butterflies made a negative impact on the citizens, hence why all these examples are negative and relate back to the book. Thank you.